You did not just lose her. What you really lost was the version of yourself you became while trying to keep her. That is the deeper wound. That is the part most people never talk about. Sit with that for a second. Breathe. Because this is not really about her. It was never only about her. This is about you. This is about the man you were before all of this, and the man you are slowly becoming now. If this kind of truth speaks to you, subscribe for more. Every week, there are more messages like this for men who are ready to find themselves again. Now let's begin. Pain does not always arrive loudly. It does not always break the door down. Sometimes it enters quietly and stays in your chest for days. Sometimes it shows up in the middle of the night when everything is silent. Sometimes it lives in the space between who you used to be and who you have become. You gave something real, you opened your heart in a real way. And somehow that part of you was ignored, used, or simply left behind. Now you are standing in the aftermath, trying to make sense of it, trying to rebuild something inside yourself that you cannot fully explain. That is where this begins. Not with blame, not with anger, not with bitterness. It begins with honesty. And the honest truth is simple. Pain changes men, but not always for the worse. Sometimes pain is the long, dark hallway that leads a man back to himself. Before her, you were already someone. You had a name before her. You had values before her. You had direction before her. But little by little, without even realizing it, you started adjusting yourself. You started becoming smaller, not because you were weak, but because you cared. You cared deeply. And for a man, caring deeply is not a weakness. It is courage. But when courage has no boundaries, it turns into sacrifice. And when sacrifice is not returned, it turns into loss. You did not lose yourself in one big moment. You lost small parts of yourself in many quiet moments. The moment you stayed silent when you should have spoken. The moment you excused what should never have been excused. The moment you chose her comfort over your own truth. These were small moments, but they added up. Over time, they built a version of you that was quieter, smaller, and less sure of himself. And now that it is over, you are standing there holding that broken down version of yourself, asking how this happened. That is the real question, not why she hurt you. The deeper question is this: who did you allow yourself to become while all of this was happening? That question is harder. It asks more from you, but it is the only question that truly matters. Because once you answer it honestly, you stop living as the victim of the past and start becoming the man who shapes what comes next. Moving on does not mean forgetting. Let's make that clear. Moving on does not mean pretending it meant nothing. It meant something. You meant something. What you felt was real. Never let anyone tell you to just get over it. Never let anyone rush your healing. Grief is not weakness. Grief is the price you pay for caring deeply. And a man who grieves is a man who loved honestly. That is not something to hide. That is something to respect in yourself. But moving on does mean something very specific. It means you stop making the wound the center of your identity. It means you stop waking up every day and letting the pain be the first thing that defines you. It means you stop measuring your life by what she did, what she said, what she gave, or what she did not give. Moving on means taking your center back. It means returning to the part of yourself that existed before she ever entered your life and starting again from that place with care, with honesty, and with intention. Identity comes first. Before you can really move forward, you need to know who is moving forward. Not the man you became in that relationship. Not the version of you she wanted. Not the version of you that kept reaching for her approval. I mean the original you. The man with his own voice, his own standards, his own limits, his own way of knowing what feels right and what does not. That man is not gone. He did not disappear. He was buried. Buried under compromise, buried under hope, buried under the quiet desperation of trying to make something work that was slowly draining the life out of you. But he is still there, and the first real step in moving on is calling that man back. You call him back by returning to what always belonged to you, the interests you dropped, the friendships you let fade away, the goals you paused because the relationship took all your time and emotional energy. You return to those things not just to stay busy, but to remember who you were when no one else was shaping your life. That version of you is honest. That version of you is steady. That version of you does not need permission to exist. He simply exists. And that is where your strength starts. Now let's talk about something men do not speak about enough. Self-respect, not confidence, not acting tough, not trying to look strong. Self-respect, the quiet inner knowledge that you deserve to be treated well, that your time matters, that your presence has value, that your feelings are not disposable, that your emotional investment should be honored. Painful relationships slowly wear self-respect down. It rarely disappears all at once. It leaks away little by little. Every time you accepted treatment that did not match your worth. Every time you ignored your own feelings to keep the peace. Every time you looked at something painful and called it love. But not everything that contains love is healthy. Not everything that feels intense is true love. Real love does not keep stripping pieces from a man. Real love does not demand that you betray yourself just to keep it alive. Real love does not leave you empty and hollow. Real love adds to you. It does not keep taking from you. If the relationship kept subtracting from who you were, that matters. That is not something to store away with anger. It is something to store away with clarity. And clarity is one of the greatest gifts pain leaves behind, if you are brave enough to accept it. Rebuilding self-respect is not dramatic. It is not loud. It does not need an audience. It happens in private. It happens in the decisions you make when nobody is watching. It happens when you choose rest over another late-night conversation that only drains you. It happens when you say no, even when part of you is scared to do it. It happens when you stand in front of the mirror and quietly decide that you will never accept that kind of treatment again. Not because you are angry, not because you want revenge, but because something inside you has finally settled and understood that you deserve better. That is self-respect, and that is what you are rebuilding now, one choice at a time, one day at a time, one small act of honoring yourself at a time. Now let's talk about purpose, because this is where many men get lost after heartbreak. They focus so much on what is missing, the missing person, the missing feeling, the missing future they had imagined. And while focusing on what is gone, they forget to fill that empty space with something real. Purpose fills that space, not distraction, not a replacement, purpose. The thing that gets you out of bed because something inside you needs to be expressed. Men are built for pursuit, not the pursuit of women, not the pursuit of approval, but the pursuit of something meaningful, a craft, a mission, a standard of living that matches who they really are. When a man loses a relationship, he often loses direction too. Why? Because without noticing, he tied too much of his purpose to the relationship. His reason for waking up became connected to her. His goals started forming around a future with her, so when she left, his direction left too. That is the true emptiness many men feel. It is not only her absence, it is the loss of their own inner direction. The answer is not to find someone new. The answer is to find your mission. Not a mission that makes you look impressive. Not a mission that proves something to the world. A mission that belongs to you. Something you would still care about even if no one praised it. Something you would still build even if no one noticed. That is real purpose. And that kind of purpose cannot be taken from you because it does not depend on anyone else staying. So ask yourself the question you may have stopped asking a long time ago. What am I actually here to do? Not as someone's partner, not as someone's option, not as someone's source of comfort, but as a man. What do I carry that is mine? What disappears from this world if I never fully show up? That question is worth sitting with. Worth thinking about for days, even weeks, because when a man knows why he is here, everything becomes steadier. His work becomes clearer, his health becomes stronger, his relationships improve, his spirit becomes more grounded. Now let's move into some harder truths, the uncomfortable ones, the truths that sting a little but help you grow. The first truth is this: some part of what happened was your responsibility. That does not mean she was right to hurt you. That does not mean you deserved poor treatment. It simply means that at some point you allowed the pattern to keep going. You stayed longer than your instincts wanted you to stay. You gave more than the reality deserved. You held on to hope even while the evidence was showing you something else. That is not weakness, but it is something you need to own. Because a man only changes when he is willing to admit where he ignored himself. The man who blames only her stays trapped in the story. And living trapped in the story is expensive. It costs time, it costs peace, it costs growth. It drains the very energy you need to build the life waiting for you. The second uncomfortable truth is this: healing does not move in a straight line. Some days you will feel strong, some days you will feel clear, some days you will feel like yourself again. Then suddenly a song will play, a scent will pass, a quiet Sunday afternoon will hit, and the weight will return. The memory will hit you again, and you will think you are going backward. You are not. That is not failure, that is healing. Healing comes in waves. It rises and falls, it leaves and returns. But each time it comes back, it usually comes back a little weaker, a little softer, a little easier to carry. Trust that. Trust the process, even when it feels messy. The man who walks through this honestly will not come out smaller. He will come out more whole. The third hard truth is this: not every relationship that ends was a mistake. Sometimes two people meet, share something real, and then grow in different directions. That does not always mean it failed. Sometimes it simply finished. Sometimes it gave what it came to give, and then its season ended. Staying bitter about something that completed its season is like being angry at winter for not being summer. Seasons change, people change, life changes, and sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is let something be exactly what it was, not more than it was, not less than it was, just something real that had its time, and now that time is over. Now let's speak about grounding, because this matters deeply. A grounded man is not emotionless. He is not cold. He is not shut down. A grounded man feels deeply, but he does not not lose himself inside his feelings. That is the difference. An ungrounded man is pulled by everything around him. He reacts to every shift. He rises and falls with every mood, every text, every silence, every disappointment. His inner world depends too much on what is happening outside of him. But a grounded man stays connected to his core, even in the middle of chaos. He can be in pain and still know who he is. He can feel the loss and still keep moving. He can acknowledge the hurt without allowing it to consume his whole identity. That is what you are building now. Not hardness, not emotional walls, grounding. The kind that comes from knowing yourself. The kind that comes from having standards and living by them. The kind that comes from waking up every day and choosing to be the man you said you wanted to be. Grounding is built in the morning when you get up and act with discipline, even when the motivation is gone. Grounding is built in silence when you sit with yourself instead of escaping into endless distraction. Grounding is built in uncomfortable moments when you tell the truth, when you walk away from what is easy but wrong, when you keep your word to yourself even when no one else would know if you broke it. That is the work. Quiet work, daily work, invisible work. But it changes everything over time. At some point, you are also going to think about attraction again. You are going to wonder if you are still lovable, if a good woman could still truly choose you, if this pain changed you in ways that made you less worthy. Hear this clearly. Pain does not disqualify you. It refines you. A man who has walked through real pain and kept his integrity is not less of a man. He is more complete. He understands things now that he could not understand before. He knows what it means to love honestly. He knows the danger of abandoning himself for connection. He knows the difference between chemistry and true compatibility. That knowledge matters. That depth matters. It cannot be faked. It cannot be performed. It is real, and the right people can feel it. When a man has faced himself honestly and chosen growth instead of bitterness, something changes in him. There is more steadiness in him, more awareness, more depth, more calm. That kind of man is not just attractive on the surface, he is trustworthy at the foundation. He is a man worth standing beside. But attraction should not be your main goal right now. Wholeness should be the goal. Returning to yourself should be the goal. Building a life that you can truly respect should be the goal. Attraction comes naturally when a man has done that work. He does not chase it. He becomes it by becoming fully himself. No performance, no begging, no need for outside approval. A man who truly knows himself does not need the world to keep reminding him of his value. He carries that value within him. And that quiet certainty is powerful. Now let's go deeper. Beneath all of this is one emotional truth. You cared. You opened yourself. You showed up in a way many men are afraid to show up. And yes, it hurt. Let yourself admit that. Not to stay stuck there. Not to drown in it. But to honor the truth of what happened. You are not less of a man because it affected you. You are not weak because you needed something that was not given. You are human, and human beings carry pain. The question is not whether you feel the weight. The question is what you do with it. Do you let it harden into bitterness? Do you let it turn into walls that block out everything and everyone? Do you let it become the story that defines the rest of your life? Or do you transform it? Do you take the pain and turn it into fuel? Fuel for growth, fuel for clarity, fuel for a more focused and honest life. Fuel for becoming the kind of man who now understands exactly what it costs to lose himself. That transformation is the real work. It is not flashy, it is not quick, but it is sacred work. Because the man who comes out on the other side is not the same man who walked in. He is clearer, he is calmer, he is more intentional. He knows what matters. He knows what he will never accept again. He knows the difference between loneliness and solitude. He knows the difference between loving deeply and disappearing inside love. He knows the difference between commitment and losing his center. That man is not bitter, he is wise, and wisdom is never handed to you. It is earned. You earned this wisdom, maybe not in the way you wanted, maybe not from the teacher you would have chosen, but the lesson came, and now you have a choice. You can keep fighting the lesson, or you can receive it. Fighting it only stretches the pain out longer. Receiving it helps you move forward. So receive it. Take the clarity this gave you. Take the self-awareness. Take the understanding of your patterns. Take the knowledge of where your boundaries should have been. Take all of it and build from here. The future does not have to carry the shape of this wound. It can carry the strength you gained by surviving it. There is a version of your future that is calmer, clearer, and more aligned with who you truly are. A version where your choices come from clarity instead of desperation. A version where your relationships are built on truth, not just hope. A version where you wake up every morning with direction that does not depend on anyone staying in your life. That future is possible. It is already there waiting for you. But you have to walk toward it. One choice at a time, one honest morning at a time, one quiet act of self-respect at a time. Walk toward it. Do not rush. Do not pretend. Do not try to skip the process. Just keep walking, steadily, clearly, with your values still in your hands, with your eyes open, with a deeper understanding of who you are and what you are worth. That is how you move on. Not by erasing the past, not by acting like none of it mattered, but by choosing yourself every day, fully, without apology, without bargaining, without abandoning yourself again. Choose yourself. Because once you do that, things begin to change. The mornings begin to feel lighter. The thoughts become less noisy. Your purpose becomes clearer. And the man in the mirror starts to look familiar again. Not the version of you that existed just to keep her. Not the smaller version of you that forgot his own value. But the real you. The man you were before and the stronger man you are becoming now. Those two versions of you begin to come together, and that combined version is powerful because he has lived through something painful and chose growth instead of hardness. He did not shut down. He did not lose his ability to feel. He deepened it. He refined it. He protected it with wisdom, boundaries, and self-respect. And now he moves through life differently, with more presence, more weight, more calm confidence, more truth. That is you. That is the man you are becoming. And that process has already started. You are already in it. You are already here. You are already listening. You are already choosing to face the pain instead of running from it. That is not small. That is not meaningless. That is the beginning of everything. Hold on to that. Carry it with you today. Carry it tomorrow. And when the weight tries to return again, remind yourself of this. You are not your pain. You are what you chose to do with it. And you chose growth. You chose to return to yourself. You chose to stop abandoning yourself. You chose to rebuild. That is enough. More than enough. That is everything. And if something in this message found you today, if it landed exactly where it needed to, subscribe for more. There is more waiting for you here. More messages for men who are doing the quiet, serious work of becoming the man they were always meant to be.